Hello again, so this is the Igaro C1. The app is running on this phone and I'm recording with my main phone. And by the way, this is the modified Bertu Aspin with the cutouts. That's a bit smaller than Bertu uses, but I like it actually, so it's probably good enough. Anyway, back to here. So with the other phone, the first thing it did was update the firmware of the lights. So the application has firmware for the light, which it transfers, and then it started. And I tried, by the way, connecting both phones at the same time. That did not work. I don't know if it can happen, but my second phone was then searching, so I switched it off. But let's look now. So what you see now is the low beam, or the near beam rather. So that's a stand light, and we're now going to a road that has very little light. You can see there's quite a bit of light close to you, which you don't really need. The speed indication is not quite correct. It's 17. When I'm riding 17, it says here 21. So I may need to set the dynamo type or something. I will check. Now, for example, it says 10 and it's going to 12, 13. Okay, so this is the low beam or the near beam, because actually there are two beams from two LEDs, and you can set both at the same time or one more than the other. There are various settings possible. Normally you would have it set such that as you ride slowly, then you have the one LED going, and when you ride fast you have the other LED going, or both of them. So now you have light up to 20 meters or so. Yeah, 15 or so. So this is the low beam, or the near beam I should say, because they're both low beams, both cutoff beams. Let's go a bit far. Yeah. Now we're going to the high mode, the high beam, and it's not. Yeah, perhaps I aimed it too far, but if you aim it closer, then the beam, the near beam will be very near. Let's see. I may need to adjust a little bit. Oh, how far can I see? With the camera it does not look far. In reality I see about, let's see, uh, 10 seconds or so riding it, a bit more than 20 kilometers per hour. That is 5 meters per second or so, 50 meters. I can see 50 meters ahead or so, perhaps a bit more. Let's see if I adjust, when I adjust, aim a little. So yeah, let's measure this a bit more accurately, the low beam, just with walking. Okay, let's kickstand out. That's difficult. Wait a minute. Up to about the third light. Okay, let me check. That's about 16 meters, right? So the low beam gets to about 16 meters. If the high beam sets for about 50 meters. As to evenness of the beam and the power, I need to check with the settings, because there are a lot of settings. but the power also increases quite a bit. Oh. So it's now 2 watts, but when you're going a bit longer, then it goes to about 5-6 watts. And so it should become a lot brighter. So this is not actually 22 kilometers per hour. It's more like 3-4 or less. Yeah, the power is now going up. Possibly related to charging the capacitors. Because it was at 5.6 a while ago. The beam is nice and even, very wide, so it lights up everything. No weird patterns or anything like that. So there is some unevenness, of course. In most beams there is. I just need to check when the beam goes to 5 watts and more. And perhaps if that is related to the dynamo, the setting for the dynamo, because you can use it in automatic mode or set which dynamo it is. Okay. Right. This will be it for now. So this is the standby mode, or the yeah, for the stand light. What can I say? I think the low beam is interesting in that it's up to about 16 meters, which is useful for very slow riding. Yeah, that's interesting. I need to test this in a more difficult terrain and bad roads. You can see the low beam. Probably it has there a little bit. It's a bit darker, but hard to see on the video there as well. So it's not 100% even, but for low speeds close to you, I think it's good enough. The high beam, or the far beam rather, is very even, very wide. I would want a bit more light, but I need to check what goes on with the power output, how to set why it goes to 5.6 watts as I saw before I recorded this video, and why it doesn't do that now, or it went up to about 3.6 watts to 22 kilometers per hour, at least 22 on the phone, and that's not really 22 in reality, but it's more like 18, 17. So I needed to do a bit more checking, but yeah, I'm more riding on various terrain to really see what it's like. What happens, I want to know when I get the 5.6 watts that I got while riding in the city. When I get that after a longer time or something. Okay, but this is the first video, possibly interesting. That's it for now. Bye.